And welcome back.
What adventures are we going on this time?
We're back on the right side of the Undead settlement to do stuff over here. This area might look pretty familiar if you've watched the earlier videos.
Yeah, we blazed through most of it.
Before we get started going down there, there's actually something in that barn area we went through back in the second update. You can go a different direction outside of the barn.
Okay.
There's a whole covenant over there we want to go talk to before we complete the boss of the area.
This place is always a bit of a weird one. I mean,
Yeah.
looks like it was in the middle of a full-fledged Spanish Inquisition.
There's all sorts of weird shit going on. Like, if you look at there's skeletons everywhere, and if you look at them, they're growing trees.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. And unfortunately, a lot of the Dark Souls 3 lore, like, it came out, what, 2016?
Welcome to my abode.
DLC was probably early 2017. And there have been nobody has gone back to look at the lore since. Like, so you've got the stuff that came out as the game was fresh, and then you have nothing since. So there's no information about anything.
Hmm.
Make for fine vessels.
And you'd kind of think in the 4 years since the game came out, somebody would stop and go, hey, these skeleton things, match up with something else over here.
Yeah, I guess this one didn't get quite as much attention as the other two.
To reiterate, I am Cornix of the Great
Not even Dark Souls 2 had the same problem, I think. The Dark Souls 1 lore community really only got started after Prepare to Die came out, and that was, what, a year and something after the original game?
Hmm.
So you've got all the cool information like the... Shit, what is it? The first boss, that giant demon?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So
You've got him standing up on top of the undead's... wherever you start in. Or you've got Oscar being up there to fight that demon, stuff like that, and then you just don't have any of that for Dark Souls 2 or 3.
yeah, it is a bit of a weird thing. I think maybe more effort went into making the first one a cohesive whole.
Probably. Because one of the biggest questions especially about Dark Souls 3 was, this, by the way, is not the direction I intended for this video to go, but now that we're here, let's go off. But one of the biggest questions is a really late game area called Untended Graves. And while this mod gives an answer, it's not an official answer, and it's just kind of like...
Yeah, if it's not there in the text, the fans will just come up with their own ideas.
Because that was one of the things I looked at, like, before even considering the LP, was like, okay, what the fuck is going on with Untended Graves?
Mm-hmm.
And the official answer of the lore community is that there is no answer. It's whatever you personally believe.
Not a very satisfying conclusion.
The term cop-out comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are right. There's not enough concrete information to form an opinion, so whatever you come up with is probably going to be right as anything else.
Yeah, a bit of a shame. It does make me kind of wonder what approach they're going to take with their new thing, which I cannot remember the name of.
Elden Ring.
That's the one.
The thing with George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, very interested to see how that goes.
The Elden Ring is actually an item in Cinders.
Of course.
and is one of the most powerful rings in the game.
That is a nice touch. Oh, hello.
It is a percentage base increase to damage.
Yeah, can't ever argue with that, can you?
That's just good. Also, I do appreciate that they've made axes easier to get. For some reason, I've always had this idea of doing an axe run in a Dark Souls game. Seems like it'd be a fun run.
I'm sure there's some good options, but I've never particularly tried using them.
The grunting carries a cage. He ever has his cage. And Nana's never
This is the only one of those prisoners that will talk to you.
and become Nana's shade. Another Nazi.
I do not remember what the hell the point of that was.
That's telling you how to get to the Covenant. But it's the most circuitous and roundabout shit way to tell it.
Right.
What we need to do is we need to go over here, and those guys that carry the cages on their back.
Yes.
Out of all of them in this area, there is exactly one that is friendly, or at least non-hostile.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we can lock onto him, we need to intuit that he's not charging us, that we can walk behind him and climb into the cage.
Yeah, that's not exactly terribly user-friendly. Also, just the reading of that rhyme rubs me the wrong way.
What, the Nana in the
Yeah,
cage?
the way that he says Nana just makes it sound like, short for banana.
I've actually never... I don't know where the idea of using Nana or Nana or whatever as a term for a grandmother came from, but it's so weird to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is it from, the nanny goat, or...
It probably is from Nanny, actually, now that you mention it. That makes a weird amount of sense. By the way, that item we just saw on the ground there, I shot it off the tree a couple minutes ago. It's a bastard of an item because if you shoot it from below, it falls up here. If you shoot it from up here, it falls below.
That's very inconvenient.
And it's just a couple of shards. So you have to go well out of your way to get shards, and it's just... I don't like it. There's a lot about the Undead settlement I don't like. There's a lot I do like, though.
And now, the world's weirdest taxi service.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen this cutscene all the way through. Normally I just skip every cutscene because I simply do not care.
Bit of a rough end.
I would love to know how we got down here.
Yeah, it does raise some questions given the fact that there's not the massive hole above you currently.
And we have, like I said earlier, we have to come down here to get this Covenant now, because if we fought the boss of the area first, this guy right here would be squashed to death.
Yep.
And we wouldn't be able to get to the Covenant until basically the end of the LP. Not that Mound Makers is an especially useful Covenant, but it's handy. I think it gives you 5% additional damage.
Yes, then we are just fine. It's important to know.
Yeah, I don't remember what the rank up rewards for, any of the Covenants are.
And should you be undead, well, all the more so.
Since Cinders did away with them, I couldn't tell you.
Beware. The shackles of the gods are fragile. You might need this Etch it on your heart if you feel your sanity slipping. Come here.
But if we put that on, we can turn into a mad phantom. Don't know why you'd want to, but there you go.
Go mad. They'll be your family.
Yeah, I ground out like the Mad Phantom levels in a particular late game area, which is deadly enough that I mostly didn't have to do anything.
Use this bone and leave.
I think I know where you're talking about, and that's actually not a bad place to do it.
The extremely vertical area.
Piling up victims.
Yep.
Better things to do, I'd hope.
Also, I like that they gave you a homeward bone here. Some developers wouldn't have.
Yeah, because there's no way out otherwise, so you'd have to dark sign out if you didn't have one. Increased stamina damage.
Increases stamina damage is not bad.
Still one of the reasons I liked the basic hacks.
I actually really wish the gun mod worked with not only crossbows but regular bows, because there would be some really interesting regular bows I'd like to use. Like that one.
I'm trying to imagine what it would turn regular bows into.
There's a wider variety of guns than a couple of submachine guns and 2 rifles.
I suppose you could have it so that they're like more your bolt actions or something.
I think there's a weapon called the sniper crossbow or something like it, and that turns into an actual sniper rifle. God, you can imagine the fire rate on that.
Once every 6 years?
Basically. I don't know why, but shooting those dogs with the explosive rounds never got old.
They're such a pain in the ass.
It just activates ragdoll mode on them.
Such a pain in the ass if they're actually charging you, so it's just satisfying to deal with them with no hassle.
And also, just looking at the difference we've made, this is video 9. Look how far we've come in 7 updates.
You're completely destroying most of the encounters, yeah.
That guy over on the right there, we had to shoot him, what, 5, 6, 7 times?
Now everything's dead in like 2 shots at most.
That's why I love the gun run. You're overpowered as fuck. You can still die easily, but you're overpowered. Also, I forgot to summon Solaire.
I'm sure it's fine.
Not that I need the help of a summon, but it's nice to collect the Covenant items.
Jesus Christ.
The tracking on those lightning spells are insane.
Talbot's hat.
I think that's the item discovery hat from Dark Souls 2.
It's pretty...
Is it the Hat of the Explorer?
It's kind of stylish.
It didn't look too bad. Fortunately, I'm going for a very specific build, so I need the strength.
Seeing that well made me sad there wasn't a rock to push down it.
Same. Dark Souls 2 habits die hard.
Oh yeah, that's Dick.
Another one of those unkindled, are you?
Here's Igon of Kareem.
Behaving as if you deserve respect.
Much like most people from Kareem.
Heed my words.
Kind of an asshole.
If any sense, you go find a...
But we'll meet someone from Kareem in the next video who's not an asshole.
This land of hollows. You're like a frail maid.
Actually, she's quite nice.
If, like the others, you're fool enough to play the champion, then go on ahead. Traipse right past the...
Now, in the previous video, we didn't go forward after we killed that mad phantom at the very end. Because past the gate that was in front of us is a forest of spear-like arrows. In fact, you've probably throughout this video heard it sounds like a gunshot going off, and not from my rifle. That is from a giant archer up on top of this church. But if we go up there and make friends with him, he will not shoot at us.
Definitely sounds like a good survivability tactic.
In fact, he will help us. There are 3 white birches in the game. One here, one in Fahrenkeep, and one in, the Cathedral of the Deep. This is that item, that corpse from before, by the way. Totally worth it.
That's the...
But if we make friends with the
I was just going to say, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. But if we make friends with the giant, he will actually kill enemies near the white birches for us. And there are a lot of enemies near the white birches. Now this is one of the moments I really didn't like in Dark Souls 3. I like the character, but the moment... it feels unearned.
It's leaning a bit heavy on the callback.
Oh yeah, that's Dark Souls 3 in a nutshell. Now, like I said, I have nothing against Siegfried here. He is an awesome character.
Honest, I'm in a bit of a pickle.
He's actually much better than Siegmeyer.
Walked near a white birch only to be...
Because it's very difficult to fail his quest.
Whereas Sigma's last encounter is a bit rough.
some sense into them.
Yeah, Siegmeyer's quest can just derail so easily, especially if you do Izalith quick. Like most players, because they don't like Izalith.
Well, that doesn't get me anywhere. This lift,
I always forget just how tubby that armor is.
with a little warming up, eventually... No.
I'm not sure what he was thinking there.
Use my head and think.
I'm not sure he was thinking.
This lift with...
He's a good character, but he doesn't use his brain a lot.
And now,
A little rude?
at least he's not in the room with all the pillars now.
It's probably actually easier to screw yourself over with that staircase because it curves around weird. And the bonfire in that room just past this doorway here is no longer there. It's actually been moved.
Okay. How far?
It's actually been moved to what I would consider a more considerate location.
Okay then.
See it in just a minute.
And you got quite a few goodies down there.
Indeed so. Man, my computer really lagged out there. And up we go.
Yeah, you can see that he immediately figured it out once you went down. Only to get stuck again.
We will deal with Siegvard in the 4th video. This video is going to end with the giant.
Hello, friends.
I help anytime.
As long as we have that particular young white branch, and it's special because it stands out from the rest, he will not harm us. And also, I was a bit off about what the upgraded version of that ring was. The base version gives you plus 100 range.
Oh.